Hi friends, welcome to my channel. My name's Lisa, also known as Fiber Nymph, and today is Sunday, December 14th. We are officially 1 week out from when my mom and stepdad are going to arrive for the holidays. And like 10 days out, 10, 11 days out from actual Christmas, depending on when you celebrate, I suppose. Anyway, yeah, lots to do. It's that busy time of year. But I found myself with some time this afternoon that I could sit down and record, and that was actually pretty perfect. We got a lot of snow overnight last night. Oh my goodness. For those of you who maybe are new, number one, thanks for being here. And number two, I just wanted to fill you in. We live in southwestern Pennsylvania, and we got a huge snowstorm yesterday from about 2 o'clock on through overnight. We got at least 9 inches of snow with a good bit of ice underneath that, I've learned, because my husband just spent pretty much all day today. It's about 2 o'clock now. He spent this morning and then right after lunch hours trying to clear everything. And he also helps take care of our 2 neighbors who are older women whose husbands have passed, so he tries to help them out as well. So he is now in there taking a nap because he was out in the cold for hours and hours. So this gives me a good opportunity to sit down and talk with you guys. And the other reason this is excellent is because some of the things I have to show you are gifts that probably will not be here to share with you by the time I get to do another regular episode. So we're going to see them today. I am drinking the same gingerbread cookie tea that I was drinking on the last episode because I'm still very much enjoying it. It's been my go-to tea now all month, and I'm just loving it. So anyway, yeah. General announcements. I have show notes that will be in the description box below the video here on YouTube. Everything is linked. If there is anything I talk about that there are not links to or you can't find answer to, feel free to leave a comment under the video and I will be happy to try to answer you, hopefully in a fairly timely manner. Other than that, more specific announcements. What do I have? I've got show notes in my hand. I'm not sure why I'm sitting here thinking like I have no idea what's going on. Okay, shop-wise, I did end up putting up a winter mystery pie colorway in the shop that is up for pre-orders, but I also added a second winter themed mystery color. It's not a pie colorway. I thought I would offer one of each just because not everybody is into the pie colorways. So the one that is not a pie colorway is called Winter Light, and I'm not giving too many clues away about either of those colorways other than to let you know that they will both be winter themed, but in a bright and cheerful way as opposed to a dark and gloomy way. That's always important, right? Neither of them will ship out until the end of January because that was kind of the whole thing with that. I wanted them to be something that you would get after the holidays and after the rush of the new year died down and you needed something as a pick-me-up when winter sets in to the point where you feel like January is never going to end. I know I am not the only person who feels that way about January. So those will be your surprises in the mail should you choose to order those. They are both available as self-striping as well as mini skein sets and fiber options. As always with my pre-orders, if you order a self-striping, it comes with a complimentary mini in a coordinating color, so you do not have to order that separately. So both of those things are in the shop. The listings, you can check those out. Those will be linked below. Other than that, the only thing I'm really adding to the shop at this point is when I do die to order orders, I usually have extras left over. So any of my leftover skeins from die to order sets that I am dyeing, those are going in the shop pretty quickly. So the in-stock items in the shop are constantly changing. So if you want to check that out, you can do that as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in the shop that I haven't really talked about. Oh, I did put up a dye to order listing for 50-gram skeins of my bedazzled base. I ended up with a huge amount of those in stock. I think I ordered them for a specific project and somehow just ended up with a lot that I did not need. And so I have those up, and I have a select, it's not all of my dye to order semi-solid colors that are available with those, but a pretty good selection. So if you like the bedazzled base, which is the one with stellina in it, you might want to check that out. They are 50-gram skeins. I am offering them at a slight discount though. So yeah, if you have color work or smaller projects on the horizon, that's always a good option. Okay, yeah, the rest of my December is basically going to be just trying to get out the rest of my dye to order orders. I'm doing those fairly regularly, getting those in the mail, and I have a December club shipment that's going to be going out before the end of the month, and that's pretty much what I'm focused on at this point. New things will be coming in January, but right now we're kind of, you know, wrapping up for the year, especially with the holidays and with me having company. And just to throw a little extra in there, my son, who you may have heard me talk about before, my middle son, he was in the hospital twice over the summer, and he's now back in. Third time, same issue that they still apparently have not gotten fixed. It's an intestinal related issue that he's having. He was diagnosed with Crohn's, which I have. His sister also has. But he's having some complications, and he is not happy. He called me first thing Tuesday morning. That is never a good sign when somebody calls you that early, who you don't usually hear from first thing in the morning. He's like, "Can you take me to the emergency room?" I'm like, "I can be there." So I went, and that was my Tuesday, and he's been in ever since. Obviously, he's in there over the weekend, and they're not really doing anything because I feel like nothing really happens in hospitals on the weekend. And he's got one doctor telling him they want to do this, another doctor saying, well, we need to do this first. And like, that's where it was left Friday. And now Saturday and Sunday, he's just sitting in there getting some pretty high-powered antibiotics by IV, but still, it's just, I feel so bad that he's doing this because now he's losing more weeks of work because he won't be able to return to work probably, I'm going to say probably maybe until the new year at this point. So it's just really very sucky for him, and I feel bad, but there's nothing much I can do. But it's just one more thing because I don't know when I'm going to have to run out there. I have not been going out to visit him every single day just because he hasn't needed me to. He's in a better frame of mind this time around. I do feel bad that he's sitting in there by himself, but you know, he has other family who can also go visit him. So as far as anything else that may be happening in the shop, you know, any specials that I might run at the end of the year, I often do run like a New Year's Eve, New Year's Day kind of sale thing. I have a couple of other things I might send out alerts about. Be on my newsletter list. That is the best way to stay on top of anything like that. And you can subscribe to that from any page on my website. Alrighty, we're going to get into the crafting because I am very excited that I have finished objects, and the first one is the big one, and I'm going to show that to you because I am so happy with how this turned out. This is the sunflower themed blanket that I was making for my daughter's one roommate. It is finished. I could not be happier with how it turned out. Now, it is fairly large. It's not a like full like queen size bed size. It's a throw, but I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to show you. So I'm going to stand up. I'm going to back up and stand up, and hopefully I can get most of it in the picture. So hang on a second. All right, so I'm holding it lengthwise. So it is, you're not going to be able to see my mouth move, and I apologize, but I need to talk while I hold it up. Okay, here, now it's lengthwise. So it's on top of my shoe right now. and it comes up to my shoulders. So it's that long and it is that wide. I actually have not measured its, I don't think I've measured its final dimensions. I need to do that yet. But here's what it looks like. Okay, I'm gonna sit back down now. Okay, there we go. So happy with how this turned out. So, I did this whole entire throw using leftovers, fingering weight leftovers. There were probably a few minis, not mine, but minis from other dyers. But this was predominantly leftover skeins, leftover mini skeins, like parts of mini skeins, because you know you always have a little leftover after you've used it for heels and toes or whatever. Anyway, all leftovers except for one skein of bounce that I used in the borders. A plain undyed skein of bounce. I did have to break into a full skein in order to do that. But anyway, it's all fingering weight, held double. The entire thing is held double fingering weight. It weighs 980 grams. I used a 48 different colorways of my yarn in combinations of bounce bedazzled, mountain tweed merino, mountain tweed merino fingering and mountain tweed BFL fingering, Linnaeus, and I think I had one colorway on sunshine. And then I did have, I think it worked out to be about 116 grams of just other dyers' yarns that I had leftovers of. I clearly did not know whose they were at this point. None of them had tags on them, except for a couple. Again, I had a couple of minis that I did break into, like from, you know, like the Indie Dyer Advent swap and stuff like that. But other than that, it was all leftovers. So when I logged this on Ravelry, I did actually itemize the 48 Fiber Nymph Dye Works colorways that I used and their weights, because I was keeping a spreadsheet. I had a list and then I moved to a spreadsheet. So I know exactly what's in this blanket. Anyway, I did 28 of these sunflower squares. The pattern that I used for the sunflowers, do I have that written here? I don't. I think it's called the Sunflower Bloom blanket, possibly. I'll put it down here. I had it, I mentioned it last time too. And then for the, I realized I think I have this upside down. Do I? I do. It doesn't really matter though. It looks pretty much the same. These squares, then, I had to figure out what I was going to do. And I believe I did show you this last time. I showed you a couple of the strips, didn't I? You know, I had tried a couple different things. I landed on these granny stripe squares. They worked so well. And then on the squares that, I have it inside out too. Good grief, Lisa. Okay, let's get it together. In these places where two would come together, I did have to add a strip of, or a row of the neutral granny stripe, just so that sizing would work out, because these all have a neutral round on the outside of the square itself. So I had to get things to fit that way. After I did the 7 strips, it was 7 strips of 11 squares each. I then joined them, and that I had to play around with a little bit, but I basically just took a strip and did a granny stripe in the neutrals, held, you know, it was 1 strand of bounce, 1 strand of mountain tweed merino in the plain vanilla colorway, the undyed colorway. So I did that down 1 strip, and then I would come back the other way and join the next strip using the same join that I had ended up using to join these squares to the sunflower square. So I just did that same thing. So you can see that that there. So that's how that joined. And then once I had all those done, I just did one round of granny clusters the whole way around the blanket for the border, and it's done. Again, I am so happy with how this turned out. I really hope Allie likes it. I'm tickled. Now, the funny thing is I have no idea if I'm even gonna be able to submit this for a pigskin party project. Number one, I mean, I think technically I can, but when I tried to submit it, the form would not take it with 48 sponsor items. Like there's a limit of like 18 in the form. Now in the rules, I do not believe that there's a limit. Now there's a limit on how many mini skeins you can claim if they're all part of a set. But again, I only used a couple of actual mini skeins in this, and none of them were mine. So I have all the yarns itemized in the project page, but I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work out because I can't get it to take it. And I also can't get Ravelry to recognize an entry for just other yarns, which is what I put in for that 116 grams of yarns that I don't know what they are. It won't calculate the full yardage if I put that in like that. So I have a note in my project notes about how I did it, but then I also ended up sending a help form, who I don't know who gets that, if it's Jen or if it's Wendy, just saying, hey, this is the deal. This is the project I did. It was all done with leftovers. I've got 48 of my own yarns. And that's the other thing. I'm a sponsor. Okay, do you hear that? Do you hear the tapping? We have a woodpecker who has decided he wants to peck on our house, which is not good. We live in a log house. I'm hoping he stops so I don't have to go outside in the snow and shoo him away. Anyway, as a sponsor for the pigskin party, I always feel a little self-conscious anytime I do a project that uses a whole lot of my yarns that I can get all these points for, because you get extra points when you're using Pro Shop sponsor stuff. There is nothing in the rules saying that as a sponsor that you cannot participate, or there's a limit on how much you can participate. There's nothing in the pigskin party rules like that I am aware of. So technically I should be able to do this. And honestly, I know I'm not gonna like even make it to the top. There is some woman who has done a whole bunch of blankets and like more power to her. She has got so many points right now. It's amazing. So I know I'm not even going to be up in there. You know, it's not going to put me way up there. I just kind of, it's my own thing. Like I'm so happy with how this turned out. I really would like to get credit for it. But if I'm not allowed or can't do it just because of whatever, I won't be heartbroken. It's just, it's a silly thing, I guess. I don't know. But the blanket's done. I can wrap it up. I'm super happy with it, and that's the main gist of it. That's the best part. Oh, also, we're sitting here by my Christmas tree, obviously. I did do a little test video to make sure these lights weren't going to do that weird flickery thing that lights sometimes do. These are LEDs, and I'm not sure that they do that because when I played it back, they were not doing that in the video. I will apologize right now ahead of time if in the larger video they do that and it bothers you, because I know that is very bothersome to some people when that happens. Maybe it was just the incandescent Christmas lights that did that. I really don't know. I'm not an electrical person, so I have to go scare the bird away. I'll be back. Okay, I just opened the front door. We have wind chimes that hang just inside our front door, so every time you open the front door, the chimes go, which is really nice because it lets you know when somebody's coming in and out. I'm not sure. They've been there longer than I've been here. So sometimes when you open the front door, that's enough. The birds hear that and they fly away. So that's what happened. I didn't have to go out in the snow. Hopefully they'll stay away. Alrighty, so that is the blanket. Moving on, I do have another finished object that is going to be a gift. It was not originally when I first cast it on, but it is now. And it is my Tracks in the Snow socks. So I cast these on. This was my second exclusive pigskin party colorway for this year, by the way. And I cast these on originally just for a pair of socks for myself. And last time, whenever I showed you, I don't think I was done with the first one yet, or I was very close to it. I don't know. But I finished the first one and started on the second. And shortly after I started on the second sock, I thought, you know what? These would be a perfect pair of socks for my daughter because Emma loves these colors. She's very into blues and purples. And I thought, why am I not making these for her? And so when I finished the second sock, I did it the right length for her. Her foot's about an inch longer than mine, so I made it her size. And then I went back and I tore out the toe of the first sock, knit it out far enough, and then did the toe again. So now they are Emma sized, and so this is going to be one of her Christmas presents, which I'm feeling good about because, again, I did that giant shawl for her one roommate and this blanket for the other one, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I feel really bad that I don't have anything like ready for her. And so this is one of her Christmas presents. I knit this. This is my traveler base, so these are sport weight socks. And they were just my regular 2x1 rib slip stitch heel flap and gusset. Now I did do something different on the heel flap. It's not actually a regular slip stitch heel flap. It's a patterned slip stitch heel flap that sort of mimics the 2x1 rib up there. I did talk about this in the last episode, and I may have it explained in the listing. I can't remember, or not in the listing, in the project page. And if I don't, I will try to make sure that that is explained. But it's basically, I would knit two and then slip the purl stitch. And then on the way back, I knit and purl in pattern instead of just purling everything back on the wrong side. So worked out great. I really like it, and I think it looks pretty. It's just something different. So anyway, finished pair of socks, and those are another pigskin party project that I got extra points for using an exclusive colorway of mine. So, but they were like 200 and I don't know. I think I used like 86 grams of yarn for those. Okay, I just about drank the tea bag. Maybe I will take the tea bag out of this cup. Okay, there we go. So tracks in the snow socks are done. All right, so again, gifts for Emma. I believe I mentioned last time that I was thinking about making the wild oleander hooded cowl for her. She had mentioned that she liked, like she said, the Wednesday cowl. So it's from that show Wednesday. I have not watched that show, so I didn't have a point of reference for that. I did Google it and looked it up, and there are definitely a bunch of people on Ravelry who have created cowls that look like that. Most of them are crocheted because I think the one in the show is crocheted. One or two were knit. But anyway, I looked at it and I'm like, that's just a really long infinity cowl. Like, you know, it's like wide, but it's just an infinity cowl. And she's never been a cowl person, so I was a little baffled by that. But she wants it more for something to wrap around her head and like cover her upper body like that rather than just something around her neck. Got it. But I had this wild oleander pattern in my queue for a long time because I really liked it. I'll put a picture of it up here. The designer is Andrea R. Williams. Her design name is Wickedly Handmade. And I know a whole bunch of people were making this not too long ago, and I thought it was really cool. And so I thought I'd really like to make that for her. I think she would really like that. Plus that gives you some chest coverage. And you know, you still get that snood effect because that's what she said. She wanted a Wednesday snood. She used the word snood. And then I explained to her, you know, it's just really like a big cowl for the most part, the one that she was talking about. She's like, yeah, whatever. So I wanted to make this, but I didn't really have any yarn on hand that I thought would look great. I love the color changing yarn, the pattern used. It was a Lion brand, something, I don't remember exactly what. I didn't have any of that. Yes, I dye self-striping yarn, and yes, I dye gradients. I did not have any of mine on hand that would work well, because to make something this big with that wide of stripes, like, I wanted it to not be tiny little stripes. I wanted wider striping to happen. So a gradient would have worked okay, but I didn't have any of those on hand, especially not in colors she would like. So I kind of thought, well, if worst comes to worst, I can go through my stash and I can come up with, some DK or worsted weight skeins that I can just stripe individually and just keep changing yarns. I didn't really want to have to do that because, again, more ends to weave in. I don't mind weaving in ends. There were a bazillion ends in this blanket that I wove in, and I was absolutely fine with that. But time is of the essence right now. So to make it easy enough on myself is more the key. So I kind of put it to the back of my brain thinking, okay, I have to come up with something for this. And then the other day I was out, I was running a ton of errands, and I was in Walmart, and I don't usually go down the yarn aisle in Walmart unless I need like some crochet cotton or something very gimmicky. Like last year, I think I bought some sparkly, like red sparkly yarn for some project I was making like a year or two ago or something. But anyway, I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna see what there is. And I mean, I knew it wasn't gonna be wool, and I was correct. But the other thing that I did have on hand was something else that I did purchase with Emma in mind, because back when I was thinking about projects that I could make for her for Christmas, there was this sweater, and I think maybe I shared that with you before, but I also didn't have any yarn that would work for that, and the yarn in that pattern was a cotton, maybe a cotton acrylic blend, and I didn't want to do cotton because that wouldn't be very warm. I mean, acrylic isn't super warm either. But I did end up ordering yarn for it from Hobby, and this is some Colorina from Hobby. And this is what the color looks like. And there's some really, really pale blue in there as well. Super pretty. And so I had this, but when I got it, I realized how loosely spun it is. And it is a single ply yarn. I thought, oh my gosh. Like it's, I think 80% acrylic and 20% wool. I thought that's going to just pill like crazy. Speaking of pilling like crazy, the sweater I'm wearing, I didn't tell you at the top of the episode, I will tell you now. This is my Weekender pullover, Weekender's Andrea Mowry. Actually, the last episode I was wearing my Weekender light. This is my regular Weekender that I spun. I did a combo spin. And so I've got all these fun colors in it from my combo spin. This is the one that I wear both inside out and right side out. This is the inside out version, so you can see it's the stockinette facing side, and you really cannot see that slip stitch that goes down here because it just blends right in. The sleeves are reverse stockinette, because if you wear it the other way around, the way it's supposed to be, with the reverse stockinette facing here, the sleeves are then stockinette. It is very pilly though. It was just a lot of very soft fibers. I think there was probably a good bit of merino that I spun in this. I don't really remember. But anyway, and it was not super tightly spun. I'm not a tight spinner. So anyway, I wear it a lot though. I've gotten tons of wear out of it in all the years I've had it, and so it needs a good depilling. That was what I was getting at. So anyway, I thought that sweater in this, I just felt like it was really going to pill fast, so I didn't want to do that. But I thought, okay, well, I have this yarn. Maybe I could make that cowl in this. So I did a couple of swatches, and I swatched a single strand of this, and it looked very pretty. The colors are lovely, but it was very, very lightweight. And I thought, it's not going to be very warm like that. It's soft, but it's not going to be very warm. So then I tried holding 2 strands of this together. And it was definitely thicker, but the colors just really muddied up super fast. And I'm like, I don't like that. So I set this aside, and it was later that day. I was at Walmart and I was looking, and I did find 2 yarns that I thought, well, maybe these could work. And the first one is this, which is a Lion Brand mandala, a gradient in this blue gradient. It's very pretty, and these are colors that Emma likes. I bought 3 of these because I was sort of in a hurry and I couldn't math in my head to know how many I might need if I wanted to use this. And my thought was I could do this and start with one color, and then after I went for a while, start a second ball and, you know, change colors manually that way, working with two different balls. That was one thought. But anyway, then I also found another yarn, which is also a mandala, but it's the mandala ombre in these colors. And I thought, oh, I really like these colors, and these are definitely her colors. Matter of fact, right now her hair is kind of that color. Anyway, so I thought, I really like these. I think this is what I want to use, but I still bought the other 3 balls. I bought 3 balls of this as well. But this is the one that I'm using for this particular project, and I think I may hang on to, well, obviously I'm going to hang on to this. I'm not returning it. Returning yarn. Anyway, I'll hold on to this and maybe do one of those Wednesday snoods with this yarn at some point. Not for Christmas, though. Oh my gosh. We're getting 1 project here. Well, 2, because she's getting the socks. Anyway, so this is my progress. I will tell you, yesterday, I gave myself a day where I did almost nothing except sit and knit and crochet. I finished those socks yesterday, and I started this project and made a huge amount of progress, and I'm now tearing stitches out. Hang on a minute. Okay, there we go. So here's what I have so far. I've done the bottom triangle. You start at the, well, actually you start up here at the top, like where this progress marker is. That was me marking, which is the front. But you start here, and then you work your way out to do the whole triangle. And then once you get it to be the length that you want it center-wise, you join the triangle in the back, and then you start working around that edge in the round. So that's where I'm at now. I'm working that in the round, and I think it's a lot of fun. Let's see. Changes I made to this pattern. I didn't so much make a change as I ended up changing it just because I wasn't 100% clear on what the pattern was asking me to do. I think I've mentioned this before. Crochet patterns vary. Like, I feel like there's less standardization in how to write a crochet pattern than in a knitting pattern. I'm sure that's not true across the board, but the ones that I've used, a lot of them, like, each designer seems to have their own way of writing the pattern. Now, I'm not talking about like the difference between US terminology and UK terminology, crochet terminology, not that. That is a difference, and you have to know which you're following, but I'm just talking about how they write. And a lot of, you know, crochet patterns do include a lot, either video tutorials or, you know, links to video tutorials or photo tutorials within the pattern. This one does have photos, which makes it very helpful. But it was more just like how far to go. She's like, whenever you get to the length that you want. Well, I wasn't sure what length I wanted because nothing was telling me like how many stitches I should have or how many rows I should have gone. It took me a while, and I decided, and the other thing is, like, however long or big you make this triangle, that's going to dictate how big in circumference this part's going to be. And I knew I didn't want it to be as large as what the pattern was showing in the sample. It seemed very open, and I want it to be a little snugger so that it's warmer. So I did stop earlier than what it seemed I should have done. After that point, I did, however, figure out what the pattern was telling me, and I did stop somewhere between the youth and the adult size. So it's just a little smaller than it needed to be. But anyway, here's the thing. So whenever you're wearing this, and I'm going to put this on not in the way that it'll be worn, but just to show you, like, once this is the hood part that's coming out this way, a big tube. Like, this is how big it's going to be. Do you see how much space there's going to be there? I don't want there to be that much space. So I am, as I work this hood part out, this tube, I am going to work some decreases into it just so that it's a little bit more snug around the face and neck once it's done. Not a lot, just enough. Because, I mean, if you're wearing it under a jacket, it's going to snug up probably anyway. Okay, so that is absolutely not how it's worn. This is how it's worn. So you've got, you know, this triangular part in the front, and the one in the pattern, which I think I already put that picture up here, like she has fringe all along this part, which I think I am gonna do because I think it's a lot of fun. Hers seems very, very open and wide, and I don't know if maybe it's just the way she has it laying for the pictures, because it feels to me like it would move around a lot. But anyway, this is the part it's going to go up, and eventually, you know, it'll be bunched by your neck here, unless you want to wear it up over your head. Then, you know, you pull it up and it'll essentially, you know, go up over your head like that. Right now there's only a few inches, so it's not going to do that very well, but you get the idea, hopefully. So anyway, yeah, the one in the pattern picture like comes way down, like almost down to the designer. I'm assuming that's the designer, her waist, and like, I don't think it needs to be that long. That was the other reason I stopped early. So anyway, I really am enjoying making this. The process of crocheting this has been so much fun. The yarn is very nice to work with. You know, it is 100% acrylic. And, you know, I come from back in the, I'm old. I come from back in the day where when you had acrylic, 100% acrylic yarn, a lot of times it was squeaky. You know, it felt very plasticky. Acrylic yarns have come a long way. I have to say that. And so this is actually quite nice. And even though it is 100% acrylic, it's got some squish to it, and I think that will let it have some warmth to it whenever she's wearing it. All bunched around her. I think it'll be super cozy. So anyway, this is all that's left of my first ball. So I'll be breaking into that second ball here pretty soon. And the colorway is, can I read that with my contact in? 219X, which is Chi. That's all it says. So, and now I feel very staticky, and my hair is probably doing weird things, but at least you know what is going on with the cow. And I'm crocheting this with an eye hook, which is quite large. I rarely have ever used anything that large to crochet, but it's also moving along quite well, so can't complain. But that will be a project, and probably that will not be finished. You will not see that as a finished project here on the channel. Maybe once I finish it, I'll take a little video clip that I can insert in the next regular episode so that you'll actually get to see what it looked like. And maybe I'll take a picture of it with her wearing it on Christmas when she gets it. So that is a gift project that I still need to finish. Another one that I'm working on, and I just started it last night, is I decided I would make my son a hat. I've made him so many hats, and I know he probably does not need another hat, but I want to give him something hand knit since everybody else is getting hand knit things. So this is the start of it. I am using 2 different skeins of my Mountain Tweed Merino DK. So this is soot and this is plain vanilla. So, oh my gosh, I'm so what a mess. Okay, I am such a mess. Okay, so I cast on 100 stitches. And I'm doing a 2x2 rib. I will probably make that long enough that he can fold it up so that he has some double coverage there at the ears. And that is why I decided I needed a second color, because I only had 1 ball of this on hand, and he's a large guy, so he needs a large hat, and I don't know that 1 skein is going to do a whole hat for him. So if I incorporate some striping with that neutral color, the white, or the undyed, that'll give me enough to work with. So anyway, it's just a very basic beanie, not slouchy. He's not a slouchy beanie kind of guy. I don't think there's really anything else to tell you about that, but again, that one will also probably be gifted by the time I record next, so I will have to put a picture in there of hopefully of him wearing it. He's also right now, he's like, I'm probably not going to come up for Christmas. I'm probably not going to be there for Solstice. I don't know if it's just because he's sad about his situation right now and just doesn't want to have to deal with people, or I don't know. I'm hoping he changes his mind. I don't want him to like isolate over the holidays once he's home. So hopefully he'll be here and he'll let me take a picture with the hat on. Okay, and that's just my usual US 5 for the ribbing. I'll go up to US 6 for the body of the hat. Pretty standard. Oh, the other thing is, do you guys remember the convertible fingerless gloves that I knit for him several years ago? They were gifted to him unfinished the first year. I found the bag that has them in it though, and I thought, oh, I really should try to finish these for this year. We'll see if I do it or not. It's gotten to be a joke at this point that he's just never gotten these. Although it was so funny because a week or so ago, before he was in the hospital, he and I had gone out to dinner and he was wearing a pair of fingerless gloves, not convertible ones, but ones that I had made him back when he was in high school. And they were significantly smaller than what he would really wear now, but they're knitwear, so they stretch. But he was wearing them and I'm like, oh, I'm so happy to see you still have those, because I didn't know if he still had them or not. All right, so anyway, gift-wise, basically it's Emma's hooded cowl and that hat for Chris that I need to finish up. I would like to knit a few dishcloths for my mom. I kind of try to do that every year because she really likes knitted dishcloths. Those will not take very long though, so I should be able to do that before Christmas, hopefully before she gets here so she doesn't see me working on them, but even if she does, it'll be fine. Yeah, so that's it. I have not worked on any of my own projects just because gift stuff is taking top priority right now. So, you know, my sweater, my holiday bow socks or backyard bow socks, like I haven't done anything with those. The only thing I've worked on myself is my spinning, and I have been doing the Battvent from Knit Spin Farm. I'm going to show you this just because I know I'm not doing them in the same order as anyone else, so I don't think this is going to give anything away, especially because you can only see 2 colors. But this is the end of my first bobbin. I finished that, and that is, so that would be days 7, or bats 7 and 8, not technically days 7 and 8. So yeah, that's finished. And I have another bobbin started with bats 9 and 10. Today is the 14th, so 11, 12, 13, 14. I am now, am I really 4 days behind? Maybe that has 8, 9, 10, and 11. That I may have up through 11, so that one's probably half done. I'm looking at my wheel right here. I think I have 4 more days to do on that. So, but again, that's not really been a high priority to keep up with just because other things need to be getting done. So that's where we're at with crafting. Let's move on to page 2 of my show notes. That takes us to the Choose Your Own Adventure Make-Along, which is our Make-Along for 2025. We are coming down to the end of that. If you have been participating, thank you so much. I'm so happy that you came along on this journey. You have through the end of the year to finish up your projects and post them, and the chatter thread is always going on. I'll probably, you know, allow you to post finished object pictures in through the first few days of January as well, just because if you finish something on New Year's Eve night, you're not going to get it posted right away probably. But anyway, yeah, so I will be announcing the last quarter winners for that make-along in my first regular episode of January. And if you also participated by doing the Fiber Nymph Dye Works component of the make-along this year, you will be hearing from me in the early part of January about that and about your prize. So pay attention to the Ravelry group. Yeah, I'll probably tag you in a thread and or send a message to you through Ravelry, because that's the only way I really have to get a hold of people that way. We are going to be hang on. I want to just let you know I do have 2 new recipes to share with you for this past however many weeks. It hasn't even been 2 weeks since I talked to you last. I did try 2 new recipes. I think that brings me up to 30 for the year, maybe a little bit over. I'm very happy because I beat last year. I only did 20 some last year. My goal is 1 new recipe a week. Haven't done that, but 30 is pretty respectable. I used a recipe for cream of chicken substitute from buns in my oven. I wanted to make a recipe that I used to make all the time for a chicken and rice casserole, and it calls for, canned cream of chicken soup. I usually use cream of mushroom soup. But I didn't want to use that. I just wanted to make my own. So I sought out a recipe. It worked great. I doubled it, so I had like 2 cans worth of substitute, and it tasted so good. You didn't have that. It's probably a lot of salt. Like, it definitely was not as highly salted as a canned soup is, and I think that was probably the main difference. But yeah, it was really, really good, and I added my own seasonings, and it worked great in the recipe, and I will not hesitate to use that again. I did not put any chicken in it. I didn't do it as a chicken thing. I did it with vegetable broth and with, mushrooms and onions in it. So worked out great. Then the other recipe that I tried was spicy garlic shrimp with broccoli and rice from Peanut Butter and Fitness. I love making bowls, and I was sort of in the mood for some sort of twist on a shrimp and rice bowl, and I had broccoli in the house, fresh broccoli that needed to be used, so we did that, and it was very, very tasty. And I believe I probably doctored it up by making it even a little bit more spicy with a drizzle, like a mayonnaise and sour cream and sriracha sauce drizzle. I like that. So anyway, those are my 2 new recipes. Now, to go to next year, we are going to do another make-along next year, and I have decided I am just calling it the 2026 Keeping It Simple Make-Along. I do have a thread started in the Ravelry group right now, basically an open for comments kind of thread. So if you have any thoughts about what you enjoy seeing in our make-alongs, would like to see as a component, any questions or things that maybe you aren't crazy about and maybe you want to see us do differently, I am open to any of that right now. Feel free to post in there. If you are not able to be on Ravelry and want to share your thoughts, feel free to email me. My email is linked below in the show notes. Yeah, I want to keep it very simple, so it'll probably not be a whole lot different than this year's make-along other than the name. I may end up changing something else here and there or throwing little extras in here and there, but for the most part, it's going to be very much a create your own parameters that you want to meet for next year, your goals, and the make-along can just be a way to help you achieve them. Our chatter thread is always quite active. It's not like thousands of people in it, so it's not overwhelming, but it's a really nice community of people, and I love reading the comments and seeing everybody's projects in there. So I hope you will participate, even if you haven't in the past. It's a new year next year, so join us. And I will also link the guidelines once I get them up in my Ravelry or on my Fiber Nymph Dye Works blog, so you'll be able to access them there. I will continue with the Instagram component, even though it sometimes vexes me the way Instagram does things. So you'll have that opportunity to, take part that way. And yeah, I will eventually do a video introducing it, but probably not by the end of the year. Maybe by the end of the year, early next year, but we're going to just ease into the make-along anyway because we're keeping it simple. Anything else? Not really. We're just at life stuff. So what's going on? I think I did tell you I got a steroid injection in my hip probably right before I recorded last time. And I will say about the week point after that, 1 week, I did start to notice improvement. I will say I feel like I have a little bit better range of motion. It's not 100% pain-free by any stretch, but things are better. So unless I have a day where I am out really walking a lot, like last Friday when I had to do a lot of errands and I was gone all day, went to the hospital, saw my son, done a bunch of errands, didn't get home till like dinner time. I was hurting by the end of that day. And I probably should have used my cane more than I did. But like just around the house, I haven't really needed to use my cane, which has been nice. So I will be returning to physical therapy this week, and hopefully in early January when I go to see the other orthopedic guy, the surgeon, I'll have a better perspective on what might be coming down the road. We'll see. Anyway, my mom and stepdad arrive a week from today. I feel like I have a ton of stuff to get done. I am not at like critical panic mode point though right now. I feel like I've got enough things that I've done, and like still a lot to do, but I feel like we're in a good place. Let's put it that way. When I'm done recording here, I am going to sit down with my lists and revise those and see what I still have to do. I have to do all my wrapping. I have not wrapped anything yet. And I haven't done any baking, and I don't know that I'm going to, aside from some desserts for like solstice and for Christmas. I'm not baking cookies, probably. I shouldn't say I'm not, like I'm definitely not, because then I'll say like, I'm going to bake some cookies, but I left cookie baking and that need to do that a long time ago. I have mentioned to you before that I think I have anyway, that I enjoy watching the Holderness family YouTube channel, and they have their Laugh Lines videos, and the last video they put out a week or so ago was about the things Kim is not doing for Christmas and like lightening up on herself. And I'm like, oh, yes, felt so good just to watch that. I'll link that below because that was a really fun episode. I enjoy them. What else? My son's in the hospital. I'm not sure when he's going to get out. Really hopeful it'll be tomorrow or Tuesday at the latest, but I don't know because so many things are up in the air. This is probably going to be my last regular episode for the year. I think I already said that, but I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. And if you do not celebrate holidays at this time of year, I hope you just have a really good close to your December. And I honestly hope 2026 can be kinder to a lot of us. All of us. Like, it's been a rough year this year for so many people in so many ways. And I would like to see next year maybe not be such a jerk. Anyway, I'm going to go. I send all of you big warm holiday hugs. Enjoy solstice if you're going to be celebrating the solstice or Yule next weekend. Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, I hope it is wonderful. And I wish you all the best. I will talk to you again soon, if not before the end of this year, with one of those special episodes then early in January. So take care. Love you guys. Bye-bye.